Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the greatest football game in the NFL ever played on Wednesday, because I don't think there's ever been an NFL game played in the afternoon on Wednesday. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers advance to 11-0, and the Baltimore Ravens fall to 6-5. So the Ravens have not been looking too hot as of recently. Even when Lamar was playing in this game, we saw RG3 start off the game 7 for 12 for 33 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 INT. Then the GOAT, Trace McSorley, came to the game 2 for 6 for 77 yards and 1 touchdown. I'm pretty sure that every single one of those yards were in the Hollywood Brown catch. Yes, 70 of those yards were Hollywood Brown's catch, 4 for 85 along of 70 for Hollywood Brown, and 1 touchdown in this game. But that is something that is not going to be obtainable for the rest of the season. Hollywood Brown has frankly been a bust this season completely in fantasy football. That's my biggest takeaway from Hollywood Brown's game, is he's either going to have a real stinker of a game or a real good fantasy football game. It's really no in-between for Hollywood Brown. He's either going to look like one of the best wide receivers on your fantasy football team, or you're going to look like, why did I even draft this motherfucker? Duvernay, rookie, was involved 3 for 20. Justice Hill, 2 for 5. And the other wide receivers were just absolutely irrelevant in this one. RG3, 7 for 68 and no touchdown in the rushing game. 9 for 35 for Hill and 9 for 10 and a tug for Gus Edwards. So luckily, Gus Edwards found the end zone. Otherwise, he would have been a completely irrelevant start. And I probably would have felt like a complete nutter dumbass for telling you guys to start him. So my overall breakdown of the Baltimore Ravens is I have no idea what this team is going to look like next week. They did not get back J.K. Dobbins today, and they did not get back Mark Ingram. Does that mean that they are able to play next week? I would assume so. But this Baltimore Ravens team that suited up today to play the game is not the Baltimore Ravens team we'll likely see next week. I would assume Lamar Jackson would be back, but maybe not. I mean, it's just very, very tough to watch a fucking game like this where you see a team that literally has just none of their players there versus one of the best teams in the NFL. And the Pittsburgh Steelers legitimately got locked down in the red zone in this matchup. The Baltimore Ravens were just putting a chain link fence in between the two in this matchup. It was honestly amazing to see. The Pittsburgh Steelers looked very bad in the red zone, frankly. And I'm not too sure if it's just the Ravens offense or the Ravens defense was looking good, or if it was the Steelers offense looking bad. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like it was the latter. We saw so many drop passes from the wide receivers on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense that it, to me, was a bit unreal. Big Ben, 36 of 51 for 266 and 1 touchdown and 1 INT. He probably could have had way more yards had these guys not have hit the ball, hit them right in the fucking hands, and them drop them. We've seen Diontae Johnson multiple times this game. He had 13 targets and only reeled in 8 of them for 46 yards. He probably would have had a touchdown had he not have dropped the ball, and he also probably would have had like 10 catches because the ball was right in his hands and it just fell out. Ebron also had drop-itis a couple times. He's open, the ball hits him right in the hands, and he drops it. 7 for 54 on 11 targets. Chase Claypool, 6 for 52 on 9 targets. JuJu, 8 for 37 and 1 touchdown on 9 targets. So pretty much this whole entire game, the Steelers versus the Ravens, was kind of just a disappointment on the end of both offenses, just really not being able to get anything done. We really thought, or at least I thought, that the Steelers wide receivers would really have a big game here up against the Baltimore Ravens. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers would stomp down on the throats of the Baltimore Ravens, and they frankly just did not. That is one of the biggest issues with Mike Tomlin, is when he's playing up against these bad teams, or not a bad team, I guess, but when he's playing in these games where the other team's not scoring too many points, sometimes he plays down to them and doesn't score as many fantasy football points as he originally, or not as many fantasy football points, but the team doesn't score as many points as they should have because Mike Tomlin just plays down to his opponent, which is very tough for the Steelers. But the biggest thing to break down from this game, actually, because I expect the wide receiver core to bounce back as well as Big Ben Roethlisberger in their next matchup, has to do with assessing whether you want Benny Snell on your fantasy team or Anthony McFarland. Which guy are you going to spend the waiver wire priority on? And it appears to be, in this one, Benny Snell, 16 for 60 in the rushing game, as well as 3 for 33 in the receiving game. Whereas Booger's son, Anthony McFarland, 3 for 9 in the rushing game, as well as 1 for 17 in the receiving game. So this game just shows us that you want to be adding Benny Snell to your roster. Has he not already been rostered at this point in the season? It's kind of just a slam dunk pick with James Conner likely missing next week as well. My overall gauge on this one is that I have no idea how the Ravens are going to look, but I do know that the Pittsburgh Steelers might actually be able to finish this season at 16-0. A pretty solid game out of them, and the Baltimore Ravens obviously put in a big fight here because they had to put in Trace McSorley, and he threw a goddamn touchdown to Hollywood Brown. So maybe anything is possible with a popsicle in Baltimore. Let me know what you guys thought about this Wednesday evening football matchup. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it, or you're like, or you didn't even watch it because it was on in the middle of the day, because for some reason the stupid Christmas tree lighting in New York means more to NBC than a football game on prime time. So thank you guys all for watching. I love each and every single one of you guys, and as always, remember to please make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new. Hit that like button if you're not new. I do love you all. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, have a great rest of your guys' day. Good boy.